totally forgot that I sold maxi skirts initially, and that was like the whole reason I got into LuLaRoe. Hey guys, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. This is another video in my series about my personal experience as a LuLaRoe consultant in 2015, 16, and 17. So I will give my usual disclaimer that this is not meant to be any kind of how-to guide or meant to encourage people to join LuLaRoe. While I had an okay experience and came out unscathed, a lot of people have had a very bad experience with this company, so I'm really not encouraging people to join in any way. This video is in response to some comments that I had on some of my previous ones asking about what the actual costs were to start up my LuLaRoe business. So again, keep in mind that this was 2015. This was 5 years ago now, and things have changed many times since my experience with this company. But I do have my consultant tracking spreadsheet all pulled up and ready to go. And so what I was going to do is just go through my 2015 tab of the spreadsheet and talk about all the expenses that I had in that first year as a consultant. So full disclosure, I did lose money in 2015. Understandably, it was a year of a lot of big expenses, a lot of like initial startup costs, which is what I'm about to talk about, and not as many events and sales and things. 2016, I really hit my stride, and 2017 was okay, but that was the year that I went out of business. So I did make money in both 2016 and 2017. I did come out ahead in the end. So I didn't lose money on LuLaRoe, but my 2015 numbers, if we are just looking at that, I did come out in the negative. So what I was going to do is just go through each row of this spreadsheet and kind of talk about what each of the expenses were and how much they were. So the very first thing on this spreadsheet, which is the end of July 2015, is my initial order with LuLaRoe. So at the time that I joined the company, new consultants could select kind of more specifically which styles they wanted to carry in their collection, but you did have to choose, I think, one top, one skirt, one dress, maybe one other thing, and then leggings were like an additional thing that you could add. So my initial inventory was the Irma top, the Nicole dress, the Azure and Cassie skirts, and leggings. I think that's all I had initially. I know later I added in the Julia dress, the Carly dress, some other items, but to start with, I think it was just those 5 things. So since consultants could choose the styles that they wanted to carry, the initial onboarding price would vary because some of those pieces were more expensive than others. So my initial inventory expense was $5,119.55. I paid for that on my credit card that I was able to pay off every month with my savings. So I did not go into debt at any point in this process. I always had enough in savings to be able to afford this business. Now in later years, they changed that onboarding process. So eventually it came to the point where they couldn't really guarantee what inventory would be at stock at any given time. And so you couldn't really just put together your own onboarding order anymore because a lot of times consultants had it all planned out what they were going to select for that initial order, and they went to make the call and half of that stuff was sold out and they had to kind of change things on the fly or have a lot of backup plans ready to go. So that's when LuLaRoe started introducing the packages, which were basically things that they could kind of guarantee they had in stock for those new onboarding people. However, even then it wasn't foolproof because sometimes they would just change the whole package, out of the blue. So you really couldn't count on like an exact price for onboarding at any given time. But I would say the amount I spent was probably about typical. I know a lot of times when you hear about LuLaRoe, you hear that, oh, it costs $5,000 to onboard. Well, there you go, it was $5,000. Now the next expense on my list, which is on that same date, was an Amazon order for display supplies, and that was $158.98. And I have my Amazon orders pulled up now, and those supplies were a dress form, which was $59, and a double rail clothing rack, which was $99.98. Okay, so this is interesting. I just remembered this. The next day, I placed another order with LuLaRoe for $339.15, and that was to get a full range of maxi skirts. So I had forgotten about this part. At the time that I onboarded, if you paid in full, because at the time they were offering people credit, and so a lot of people weren't even paying in full upfront, but if you did, they would send you 20 skirts of any style that you wanted. What my sponsor wisely suggested I do is, since I was going to pay in full, choose the most expensive style of skirt, which was the maxi skirt. So I got 20 free maxi skirts, and then since that was just like a very small selection, I on my own purchased additional maxi skirts to complete the full size range, and offer that as one more style that I was carrying. I totally forgot that I sold maxi skirts initially, and that was like the whole reason I got into LuLaRoe. Okay, so that was July 30th. Now we're into August. August 1st, I have a $40.17 charge from IKEA, and that was for folding boxes and storage bags. So the storage bags would have been those blue IKEA Fracta bags that people use to transport their items, and I spoke about those in a previous video. So those are like $2 each or something. And then the folding boxes, they're like those cube boxes that go in your cube bookcase. I had gotten a few of those. I forget what I kept in those. Oh gosh, was it leggings? I think I kept my leggings in those boxes originally. So those were like folding storage boxes, and actually I still use those for some stuff around the house now. So I guess I got my money's worth out of those. And it looks like the same day I also went to Bed Bath & Beyond to get more display supplies, and that one I have written down as hangers. That was $50.86. Those are the black flocked hangers, which were the only kind that I used throughout this business. And also on the same day, I ordered from Vistaprint, the online printing company, business cards and postcards, and that was $89.23. And I will say those were two items that I went through pretty regularly. The business cards, obviously hand out to people, but actually I don't think it was this batch, but my next set of business cards that I made, on the back I printed little lines for people to write down like their size in different styles, and that was kind of like an incentive for them to keep the business card. And the postcards I used as thank you notes, so I would put those in people's bags when they shopped with me, or I would mail them when I sent out someone's order. So I went through a bunch of postcards. They were just like big thank you notes. Okay, so then the next thing is August 7th, so a week later, the Container Store, and that was another clothes rack. That was just a single bar clothes rack. The rack from the Container Store, I bought it specifically because it happened to be on sale that day. I probably would have tried to make it work without that. That was $51.94. And then on the 11th, which is like 4 days after that, back to Bed Bath & Beyond for more hangers. This time I got $101.72 worth of hangers. So at this point, I guess I had like 3 big boxes of hangers. Possibly I severely underestimated the number of hangers I was going to need. Actually, I'm trying to remember, because I know that I thought I was going to hang my skirts a certain way, and then it ended up not working the way I planned, so that's probably why I went back for more hangers. I maybe wasn't going to hang the skirts, and then I did or something. So the next few items that I have on here are sales and processing fees from LuLaRoe. So the way that this would work is LuLaRoe through their website would process your credit card transactions, and then they would pay it out to you like in one lump sum for the day, I believe. And then there would also be a processing fee that would be subtracted from that. And the processing fee, it's the same for any kind of credit card processing if you use Square or PayPal or anything else to do your credit card processing. Usually it's like a flat rate plus a percentage of the amount that was charged. So 2% plus 75 cents or something. The next expense on here is registration for an event that was like 3 months away at this point. It was $50. And I remember this event well because I hate doing events. I mentioned that before. If you've seen any other LuLaRoe videos of mine, to me, they're not really worth it. Rarely will you actually sell items at an event, and then usually people say they're just going, to get contact information, and rarely do those contacts pan out either. So I remember this event because it was like a women-only thing. Like, it was women business owners and only women shoppers. I think there might have even been some kind of religious reason behind it that they didn't want men there. And so my husband had come with me to help me load in, and he had the bigger car, and we got everything in, and they were like, okay, now you have to leave, to him. So he just went home and picked me up later. The next expense on here is $22.25 at Staples, the office supply store, for labels. And I'm not sure what that was about. I didn't use labels to ship things. I didn't label stuff like in packages, so I'm not really sure what that was. I have it categorized as advertising, but I can't recall what that would have been for. And then the next thing was back to the Container Store for more clothes racks, and these were actually different clothes racks. I didn't use them regularly, but they were great for being portable. I had 2 of these, and again, I only got them because they were on sale. I'll try to find a picture of them and put it up here, but they were like A-frame racks, so when they were folded down, they were just a pile of bars. They would have been like 5 bars that you could just kind of bundle together and carry them easily. But then you pop them open and it would be like a bar with 2 legs on either end. And so they were pretty good, especially for me because I have a small car. I didn't take up a lot of storage space in my home with all this stuff, so I didn't want to have a ton of big racks and things, but they were great for events where I might need some additional hanging space, but they were a little unstable, and they would bow quite a bit when I had a bunch of stuff hanging on them, so they weren't like the prettiest or the most practical, but they were pretty good for being portable. So I did have 2 of those, and actually I sold them off for a pretty good price when I was finished with the business as well. So now we're up to August 24th, and I had a $10 fee for another vendor event, which I also remember. It was like an animal rescue fundraiser, and no one was there, and they had me set up originally next to a booth that was like frying food, and I said, I can't be next to this deep fryer. I have racks of clothes. You're gonna get them all stinky. So they moved me somewhere else. That was, yeah, I hate events. Okay, and then the next few items after that are more sales and more processing fees. So, I mean, I'm not gonna list all those because they're not really like startup costs of the business. Then I have another Amazon order, $103 for a rack cover, skirt clips, and my tag gun. So the rack cover, I had like a plastic cover that I would put over the rack of clothes, and that was mostly to protect it from my cats, just so nobody was like jumping on it and it wasn't getting dusty or anything. So that was how I kind of stored my clothes on the racks in my house. And then the skirt clips are like those little plastic clips that you can use in conjunction with your hanger to clip a skirt or a pair of pants onto it. That's what I ended up using for most of the skirt styles, I believe, that I carried. And the tag gun was something that had been on my original list of supplies that my sponsor had recommended to me. I never once used a tag gun. The tag gun is what they use to put tags on things, like in a store when you get a product that has a tag and it's attached with that little thin plastic string. That's the gun that shoots that string through your clothing. I never used it, but it would have been used, for example, if a tag had come off of something and I needed to, you know, reattach it. Or I know some people manually tagged their leggings. Leggings did not come with tags on them, unlike most of the other pieces, and that's because, as you may have heard, leggings form holes. And so if a tag had been shot through that material, it would eventually stretch out into a hole. And so they just didn't even tag leggings. The tags just came separately in the plastic wrapping of the legging bag. So some people did tag their leggings, or you could, if you didn't want to cause holes, you could shoot the tag through the, you know, like the back tag in the back of the leggings, so it wasn't going through the actual legging material. So some people did that. I never bothered tagging my leggings. Okay, and then on August 27th, we have our first instance of postage, which is not actually for shipping any products. It was to send giveaway items for that first vendor event. I think actually it must have been like business cards or postcards that they were going to put in everybody's goodie bags, because it was only $5.75 to ship, so I'm assuming it was just a small thing that I sent them to put in their gift bags. And then I have a few more sales and processing fees, and on the last day of August I have postage again, and that was for the first order that I had to ship. That was $6.10, which I believe was the flat rate shipping at the time. Now it's up to like $7.25 or maybe even more than that. And actually I remember that order well because it was my friend's sister, and so she doesn't live around here, which is why I had to ship her thing. And I think, you know, she just wanted to be supportive. She bought a skirt and it was too large, and so she sent it back and she asked, did I have anything smaller? And that was already like an extra small, and I was like, I don't know, this one is like a little less stretchy, so maybe you would like this other one. So I remember doing a swap out for her. So now we're into September, and on September 2nd, my first purchase of that month was more inventory. I spent $745.75. I couldn't tell you from this list what I purchased at that time, but at that point, my initial inventory had probably been totally cleared out of any decent items, so I was probably just restocking that. After that, I see a bunch more sales and processing fees. Okay, so the next real expense is September 17th from Vistaprint, and it was $150.80, and I ordered postcards and a banner. So I'm not sure which postcards I got first, but I know I had at some point 2 different postcards. One was the thank you note kind of postcard, and I think one was more of like a, I'm not actually sure what the other postcards were, but the banner was a vertical banner that I took to events and things. And I've shown that in pictures before. That was a very nice banner. And I still use the banner stand for other banners today. So I guess that was a good investment. And then the next day, September 18th, I purchased another $718.20 worth of inventory. And then I have some more sales, cash sales. So I also, you know, in addition to recording the credit card sales that were processed through LuLaRoe's system and they paid me on, I also entered my cash sales myself. So I have a couple of cash sales and then more LuLaRoe processing and their processing fees. And that's the end of September. October of 2015, I started out with a number of expenses for travel because on October 1st and 2nd, I traveled to Washington, D.C. to attend my first LuLaRoe event. And so that was back in the olden days when they were in like a small hotel conference room and they just had like some tables set up. Deanne Stidham walked around and said hi to everybody and took pictures with them. And I actually stayed at the hotel that night with a woman who I had connected with online, who also was like looking for a roommate at that hotel. So all of my expenses here are for turnpike tolls, tunnel tolls. Where was this dinner? Where did we go to dinner? Oh, at the hotel. Okay, we had dinner at the hotel, we had breakfast at the hotel, we had lunch at the hotel, and then tolls going back home. Oh, okay, and here is the hotel itself. That was $94.64. So that was my first travel expenses for LuLaRoe. Then this is interesting. On October 10th, I have a $15 expense for membership to this Facebook group that one of the girls in our team had started, where she took daily pictures of different LuLaRoe items and styled them, and she kind of put things together in different ways. I think actually they might not have been pictures she took herself. I think she used like one of those collage programs to do different layouts with, you know, styling them into outfits and things. They were great, and I subscribed for several months. It was $15 a month to remain in her group, and then you have access to all those pictures she put together, and you can use them and share them with your own groups, and people could request, you know, like, hey, I have this particular piece, can you style an outfit with it so I can show my group? So that was neat. Eventually I didn't feel like it was worth the expense anymore, so I didn't stay in that forever, but that was, I guess, the first month of that. Then I have the next day, more IKEA display supplies, $16.94, and my note says scarf hangers for leggings. So I think I mentioned this before, but IKEA has this scarf hanger. It's like a maybe 12 or 16 circles, and I used those eventually to display my leggings. I would hang them at the ends of the racks, and I would have like one for all my one size leggings and one for all my tall and curvy leggings, and that was just kind of an easy way to keep them all displayed and let people see them without having to rifle through those bins that I had originally bought. And then the day after that, another inventory purchase, $631.75. Then I have more sales, more processing fees. Walgreens photo prints. This is $6.48. Oh, this was party invitations for one of my friends who was hosting a pop-up. So the way that I would make people invitations is I had a little like postcard graphic, and I would customize it for them, like with their name and their address, and then you take them to the photo printing place and have them printed just as photographs, and then you can mail them as postcards. So that's a cost-effective way to do that, because I probably got her like 50 or 100 postcards and it was $6. And then we have more sales and more fees. Another membership expense for that Facebook group. Now we're into November. And okay, so I have postage of $5.70. I have more inventory, $509.20. And I have another pack of hangers at Bed Bath & Beyond for $25.43. And then I have more sales and processing fees, another $5.70 postage, and that wraps up November. And finally we're into December, so more sales, another $15 charge for that Facebook group, another $5.70 for postage, and another $5.70 for postage. December 10th was $529.15 on inventory, and besides that, it's mostly sales and processing fees and postage, and sales and processing fees and postage. So if you're just looking at what I spent on my initial inventory, that's $5,119.55, plus we'll add in that additional order of skirts that kind of rounded out the maxi skirt selection, plus my initial display supplies. So let's say my mannequin and rack from Amazon and my original supplies from IKEA, my business cards and postcards, the other rack that I got at the Container Store, and 1,000,001 hangers. Let's just say my first couple orders of hangers. So if you're just including that stuff, the total is $5,951.60. So almost $6,000. So I would say in the middle of 2015, which is right at the bottom of the curve before LuLaRoe really went crazy, you could become a consultant for $6,000 realistically. So I hope you found that useful. I know it was probably just a bunch of numbers, but hopefully that gives you a little insight into what things were like 5 years ago for me as a new consultant. Again, I'm not encouraging you to join. In fact, I'm encouraging you not to join LuLaRoe. Please, if you're thinking about it, do some research and maybe second guess yourself. But again, I hope you found that interesting, and if there's anything that you would like to hear about my LuLaRoe experience, please do leave me a comment and let me know, because I will continue this series. I actually just put all my other LuLaRoe experience videos together into a playlist, so if you haven't seen the other ones yet, you can take a look at that. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.